No fight, no hope, no passion, no desire, no tactics, no plan, no fucking clue. Brighton match review. Where do we start with that one? Absolutely disgraceful. If Steve doesn't get sacked this weekend, especially with an international break on the horizon for a new manager to come in and bed in, then I think we need to start questioning Ashley as a businessman, because he is playing a very risky game with one of his most prized assets that he's looking to get a lot of money for. I think if Ashley decides to stick with this awful manager that we have in charge, then Steve, if you're a fan, just walk. Just do the honourable thing and walk tonight. Walk tomorrow. Have a think on it. Speak to your missus tonight and do the honourable thing if you're a fan. Because you are sending this football club into the Championship at an absolutely astronomical rate. That performance tonight was one of the worst Newcastle performances I've seen for many a long time. And that's talking about eras with Steve McLaren, Joe Kinnear, Carver, you name it. I mean, we've had some shite, and us Newcastle fans are used to putting up with shite. But to say that we are fighting for our lives and we are playing against a team 1 point above us in a relegation battle, that was an absolute disgrace. And I could not believe, and I cannot believe I'm saying that I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because I should be used to it by now, especially under this man. But it was just disgraceful from the first whistle till the last. We made a team like Brighton, who, don't forget, have struggled to score goals all season. We made them look like Man City or Bayern Munich tonight. And it was just a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. And we Newcastle fans deserve better than that. We don't want top 10. We don't want top 8. We don't want European football. We just want a team that's going to play some type of football, have some type of plan in place from the first whistle, and give us a little bit of hope. That's all we ask for. And those are the smallest things that we do not get under this man. I mean, where do we even start? Normally I would do a match review in terms of talk through the talking points of the game. But where do I even begin on that? We did not put a single glove on Brighton at all. It was like putting my nana in the ring with Anthony Joshua. That's what that was like tonight. I almost felt like watching that game that Brighton were surprised at how easy it was, how we didn't press, we didn't go after an equaliser, we didn't go after some sort of foothold in the game. And I think the only talking point from us in that whole match was Ryan Fraser hitting the post in the second half from a decent bit of play. Should he have scored? Maybe on another day it might have gone posting in. But apart from that, and again, any Newcastle fan watching this, correct me if I'm wrong, apart from that, we did not have any significant moment. I think in the first half, I couldn't even remember this team putting 4 or 5 passes together. And that is an absolute joke against a Brighton. Not Man City, not Chelsea, not Liverpool. Well, Liverpool, not so much Liverpool this season. But we are playing against a team who is just above us, fighting for their lives. There was only one team tonight who went out with a will to win. And I touched on it in the preview that yes, Brighton are known for playing a decent style of football. They just haven't been able to score goals. But not a decent style of football to have 484 passes in the first half to our 180. That is absolutely ridiculous. And yes, of course, I'm angry at the players as well. Of course I am. The players still have to go out there and put on a fight. And again, it's something I touched on before this game, that we saw a little bit of fight in that last 5 or 10 minutes against Aston Villa last week to rescue a point. And I wanted more of that from the first whistle. Where was that Newcastle team? Where was the team who wants to stay in this division? Where was the fight from Lascelles? Where was the fight from John Joe Shelvey in midfield? Well, we wouldn't expect much of him, would he? would we? A player like Shelby, he's not exactly known for his fight. I'm absolutely speechless at that. I waited for Steve Bruce's press conference before, just to see what he had to say after that performance. And yes, he finally, which I was almost a little bit surprised at, he finally said that we weren't good enough. So if you're finally admitting, Steve, after normally coming out with the injury excuses, which he did mention, can I just say, he did mention injuries. After coming out with the COVID excuses, the injury excuses, if you are finally admitting that it wasn't good enough, this is a crucial time in the season for the team you apparently support, Steve. So just do us a favour. I'm sure you're financially savvy. I'm sure you're okay in the pocket. Just walk. Just walk. That was absolutely ridiculous. And yes, of course, as I've just said, I'm angry with the players because it's up to them to show something as well when they're on the field. But you're the man that the book is going to stop with. And it's been terrible for 18 months now, Steve. Any pundit or any neutral or anyone who maybe doesn't watch Newcastle enough might have seen where we finished last season, seen the results we got and said, oh, Steve did a good job. No, Steve didn't do a good job last season. He was the luckiest manager on planet Earth. Last minute wins against Chelsea, last minute goals here and there, lucky 2-2 draws against Everton. The season was an absolute joke, and every time you watch Newcastle, you realised how bad we were for the whole 90 minutes. And I did not want Bruce in charge after last season. It should have been a good opportunity for Mike Ashley to make a change in the summer. But obviously the takeover took priority. That fell through. Right, we'll stick with Stevie. We'll give him a bit of money. Bruce got backed. We got a couple of good signings in. So at what point, Mike, do you not see this as this as just a ridiculous appointment in terms of act now, get rid? Because he signed Wilson, fantastic signing on paper. He got Fraser in. He got Hendrick. He got Lewis, who apparently Liverpool were after in the summer. He signed his own players, and he's actually one of the most backed managers by Mike Ashley in the whole Mike Ashley era. So how, at this stage of the season, look at every single stat, and yet we are still sat here having to put up with this absolute drivel and excuse for football. My God, the game was lost. The game was lost. I think after I watched the first 10 minutes, I saw how we were going to set up every man behind the ball. That's all well and good, but you've got to have some sort of plan going forward. So we had every man behind the ball. There was no counter-attack. There was no desire to push up the field at all. There was no press. There was no desire to get the ball back and actually keep the football when we had it. It was just absolutely diabolical. And yes, Brighton's goals were quite good. You know, Trossard's in the first half, it was a good strike. Welbeck's was a good strike. You could even argue that Maupay's was a good first-time finish from a cross into the box. But we didn't lay a glove on Brighton and Hove Albion. And that's what it's got to now. And it's beyond me how I can even try and stay positive on how we might stay up this season. The only things I can take is that yes, Wilson and Maximin are going to come back after the international break, I'm sure. We've got Tottenham next, then we've got Burnley, and after that the fixtures just get harder and harder and harder and harder. And I am sick to the back teeth of trying to be the optimist, as we all do. We all stupidly try and look for that next result and think, oh, we might escape. The only way that we are going to stay up this season is if Fulham continue to stop scoring. They just can't score goals. I watched them against Leeds last night, and again, they were very, very poor in front of goal when they did get opportunities. But at least Fulham, when I watched them again last night, had desire. They had fight, and they gave Leeds a game. Tonight, we didn't even... All I saw tonight was a bunch of lads who you could only say watching that it was a friendly game. That's how our players treated it. So how are we as fans supposed to have any hope, supposed to have any optimism going into this last 9 games of the season when the players are showing up for a performance like that against a team who's around us? We were all nervous going into it. I was nervous. I've been pottering around the house all day trying to find things to do, just thinking about this match. I was drinking bloody red wine before the match. I don't even drink wine just to calm my nerves a little bit. And the players go out and put a performance on like that. We're not asking for world-class football. We're not asking for ticky-tacky. We're asking for a bit of fight, a bit of passion, a bit of desire, a bit of fight just for the shirt. That's it. We do not want to go down to the Championship again. If you're a Newcastle player and you don't give two fucks about the football club, then fine. But just do it for yourself and do it for a bit of pride. So as much as I hate Steve Bruce, and I think we need a change in management ASAP if we are going to avoid the drop, especially with an international break around the corner, I think the players are just as responsible. And I'm just as angry with them tonight as well, because I didn't see any fight from them at all. So if you're not playing for your manager, is it tactics to get him out? I don't know. But against Aston Villa last week, there was a lot more there, a lot more fight, a lot more desire. Tonight was an absolute disgrace. And every single Newcastle footballer should go home and feel ashamed of themselves. Yes, that might sound dramatic, but I'm sorry, anyone who's just watched that 90 minutes will know exactly what I'm going through right now as a football fan. Because there's just no hope there. There's no optimism that we can get out of this. I just feel like and I've said it from 2 or 3 weeks now, we are walking into a slow death. And this is a sort of a slow death that's going to mean that we get stuck in the Championship. And look at our neighbours down the road. I touched it on the preview, celebrating the fucking Papa John's pizza trophy in League One. That's where we're going to be. And the sooner that Mike Ashley realises that, I don't know whether he's watched the game tonight. I've got no idea. He's probably in his holiday home in Dubai or Miami or wherever the fuck he's got a house. But if he's watched that tonight, there is no way he can keep the man in charge. And if the stumbling block, Mike, is the £4 million that you might have to apparently pay Steve if he leaves, if you get rid of him tomorrow, then just think about how much it's going to cost you if you get relegated. You're the businessman, Steve. Pay $4 million and potentially stay up by bringing somebody in, anyone but Steve Bruce. Even Graham Jones, probably if he had the helm, could grasp things and play a bit better football, just a bit of something more than what we've seen tonight. So it's either $4 million and that, or get relegated and your asset goes down by about what, 100 million, 150 million? Mike, don't take the risk. 4 million, what's £4 million to Mike Ashley? Let's be totally honest on that. Get rid of the bloke. I don't like the thought of Steve walking away with 4 million in his back pocket more than anyone else. But get rid of him now, act now, exactly like War Flag summed up on their banner that they put out a couple of weeks ago. Act late or seal your fate. Rafa Benitez was brought in too late from Steve McLaren, and we went down because he didn't have enough time to work with the team. Shearer was brought in with about 8 games to go. I'm not saying Shearer would have gone on to be a great manager. We'll never know that, but he was brought in too late and we went down. There's so many patterns forming with similar seasons. McLaren in 2016 was an absolute clown. We were watching shite football, joke press conferences, lack of tactics. But this is worse. Steve is worse. Steve takes the biscuit. He takes the biscuit. He dunks it in the tea every day of the week. And I cannot believe I'm saying that because Steve McLaren was an absolute clown. But this is the worst we've ever seen. So there's nothing even to talk about on tonight's match apart from the lack of everything, the lack of passing, the lack of creativity, the lack of chances, minus one shot on goal that hit the post. The lack of, Sean Longstaff coming on. What are you seeing, Steve, that we aren't? Sean Longstaff hasn't kicked the ball for about 4 or 5 weeks, and you bring him on. We don't have a striker on the pitch, an out-and-out striker. And you've got Andy Carroll and Gale sat on the bench, but Sean Longstaff comes on. That is, to me, another sign that you are just accepting that we're already beaten. You know that we're going to get battered, that the game's done, so just give Sean a bit of a run out. What else can I do? I'm a bit clueless at this stage. It's just absolutely farcical. And just to add salt into the wounds, Isaac Hayden, who's one of my favourite Newcastle players, consistent every week, does all the stuff that gets unsung. It looks like he's out for the season. So where does that leave our midfield? Hendricks probably is going to come into the team now moving forward. He was absolutely shite when he came on. Almiron playing down the middle. Almiron, ask Miggy yourself whether he's a centre forward, see what he'll say. So Joe Linton on the right, Fraser on the left, and Miggy down the middle. So you've got crosses coming into Fraser to who? Is Almiron supposed to challenge Dunk in the box, is he, Steve? It's just absolutely ridiculous. And this is why, yes, the players are responsible for performances like that tonight, but Steve is the man who picks the tactics and puts Almiron down the middle. He puts bloody Sean Longstaff on. It just beggars belief, and I'm sick to me back teeth of it. Every Newcastle fan is, and all we are going to do is slowly die. And I don't know about any new Newcastle fans, but the more we keep playing like this, I just become less and less interested. I'm sick of having me weekends ruined. I was planning on having a nice night tonight, watching a film, watching a bit of Your Honor, that new show on the telly. I've got no interest. I just want to go to bed. I want to punch a pillow, punch a wall, because that was such an infuriating performance. And us Newcastle fans are so sucked into our football team. It means the world to us just to see us performing, see us doing okay, at least staying in the Premier League. And we have to put up with that shite every week. It's bollocks, absolute bollocks. These footballers and managers are getting paid millions of pounds a year, and we have to watch that absolute shite. Right, it's Tottenham next. 2 weeks' time, we've got a bit of a break. I think I'm going to pull away from talking about anything current, and my next videos will probably be on, I don't know, but I'm sick of coming on here and ranting. So if you've agreed with me, if you want to vent, please feel free to let your anger out in the comments. Please like and subscribe, as we always do. And what else can I say, Newcastle fans? I would love to sit here and say it can only get better. But based off that performance, can it get any worse? Can we get worse than tonight? Maybe to lose 5-0 to Tottenham in the next match, 6-0? I don't know. Wilson is going to be back probably for the Tottenham game, but what does he bring when we're not creating chances? When we're playing as badly as what we have tonight, what's Wilson going to do? If Wilson had been on the field tonight, we still would have lost 3-0. I don't care what anyone says. We still would have lost 3-0 because that was absolutely shocking from the first whistle to the last. No fight, no passion, no desire, no clue, no tactics, no idea. Steve, do one. Please, obviously, like and subscribe to this. Please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Black and White Banter. Whoa. Please get us on Facebook and Instagram as well. And hopefully, Toon fans, things can only get better. But all I can say is this international break is a godsend. So go and enjoy your 2 weeks without any of that absolute shite to put up with. And I'll catch up with you soon.